Hello and welcome to another episode of the Landscaper Growth Show. My name is Mark. I'm your host. Today I'm speaking with Chance Broussard at Geoscapes in Nashville, Tennessee. Chance, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me. Really looking forward to our chat about the industry.
Well, thank you for being on the show, Chance. I would love to get started just by hearing what services Geoscapes provides there in Nashville.
So in Nashville, we're full service. We do everything, primarily mowing. I started out, as most of us do in the industry, start out mowing. Get into mowing. We do, of course, regular maintenance, trimming, mulching, planting, a lot of planting installs, irrigation repairs, installs. And we do hardscapes, retaining walls, patios, and we dabble in weed control. We tend to sub that out mostly just because there's just labor is thin, but with our customer base, so they can pay under one umbrella instead of paying multiple, another company. They can just cycle that right through us, and we just move the money around and keep them in the fold with us. So that way, whenever we can, it seems like every year we dip our toes in and out of that, taking it in, doing it full time, and then not just with labor. But it kind of keeps everything in the folds. For that way, whenever we can do it, we're collecting more of that revenue instead of handing it out. But it seems to work. But we do a little bit of everything.
Fantastic. Just curious. I mean, you say everything. If someone wanted an outdoor, like attached, part of their house, built a shed or something like this, are you going to do a project like that, or is there some amount of work that kind of comes your ways that you sub out and say we're gonna have that team?
So like if we had a customer that say they want an outdoor kitchen, they want to do a lean-to off their house or whatever like that, I'll reach out to some contractors that I have networked with, and we'll get them involved, and we'll handle what parts that's in our dojo, and then they'll come in, they'll give us a price on what's theirs. We'll put our percent on top of that, and we'll present that to the customer, and then we're not going to turn down anything like that. It's something like, hey, for you. That's not kind of was all that stuff. We can make it happen.
Okay, fantastic. Great. How many people do you have on the team?
Just in-house, we're a little lean right now, which that's always the case. We've got a mowing crew. We do about 100 so plus properties a week. We have 2 people handling that, and we've got 3 of us on the install crew, actually 4 of us on the install crew, and we need to hire probably another one. Our install crew, of course, we do everything from the trimming, mulching, irrigation install, so it varies from day to day, week to week on what they're doing there. Then, of course, mowing crews, they're just doing mowing and flower bed maintenance, pulling weeds and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Taking a look at your site, beautiful site over there, Geoscapes TN, like Tennessee, geoscapestn.com. A lot of great photos of your work over there. You guys have been, in business in this configuration since around 2019, is that right?
Yeah, it was like 2019. That's kind of whenever we kind of went on the books a little bit. I started Geoscapes as a side hustle. I've always done landscaping. I was, the kid in the neighborhood with a 1984 Craftsman mower, putting around, and so it's always been in my life. When I started, I was going back to school at the time. I was going into the medical field, and I had this on the side. And so when I kind of was like one foot out, 1 foot in on that, I decided to make the leap into going into working for myself. It seemed like it fit me, and it has. It's been great. But yeah, 2019 was about, I believe that's when we went on paper as official.
Okay. So, I was a builder back in the day, built some houses, did a bunch of additions, kind of, worked on some landscaping crews a little bit, loved it. I'm always curious. I mean, I get the sense that Geoscapes is well run, and that, you guys got a lot of great photos that, do beautiful work. How did you learn all this? You've only been doing this, officially, it sounds like you've been doing this for a long, long time, but kind of officially, the last six plus years or so. And these are serious projects. I can imagine you guys get up in some, massive, build outs, kind of coordinating all those pieces, the irrigation, the, masonry, right? Whatever kind of engineering needs to go into that kind of stuff. Where do you learn that stuff, man?
Man, I'll tell you, I am, for the most part, self-taught. The reason why I learned this stuff is because I used to getting in, dabbling. Customers asking me, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?" And as you go, you're like, "Well, we need to feed this beast more, and we need more revenue." So you're like, "Yeah, we can do irrigation, right?" And I start trying to sub it out, find contractors, and you find out, unfortunately, the people out there, they just don't do what they say they're going to do, and so
Right.
you're either going to sit there and you're just holding them back because they're not looking for them; they're looking for geoscapes. And so
Uh-huh.
I other than taking a couple Rainbird classes, I'm self-taught irrigation. I learned it. Again, technology, as we're talking pre-show, is very valuable. You can get almost anything that you need there. But hardscaping, and truthfully, hardscaping is not my. That's not my. I love irrigation. I can do it all the time. Hardscaping, that's not my strongest suit. I can do it, but I know the processes. I know the attention to detail and what it needs to be structurally sound. When we're building a retaining wall, the processes to avoid hydrostatic pressure buildup and how to move water through it. But I hire people whose strengths are my weaknesses, and they come
Uh-huh.
in and they're able to do the block work and just crush it, right? But I know the little ins and outs and details on what it needs to look like as we start from the bottom to our first course till we get to our last course.
That's great.
So so I'm kind of self-taught on a lot of this stuff, but I was super motivated to learn. I just knew that I wanted to. If you're going to go, I knew I didn't want to be in the mowing arena and maintenance stuff for forever. I was looking towards the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and I'm still looking for that.
Great. Okay. Interesting. I'm curious actually about the comment you just made about the maintenance piece. So, a lot of lawn and landscape guys, they start with lawns, right? It seems like it's easier to kind of get into those accounts, but then, it's the margin is lower than this larger project work. I mean, is it important for landscape company? I mean, how do you view the maintenance work these days? I mean, you've got some historical accounts and whatnot, but is that something you kind of keep thriving and active, at least to be some percentage of the business? So you've got, well, here's this kind of perhaps lower margin, but recurring revenue over here, and here's this kind of project work over here.
Oh yeah, I think it's very important to have that in your portfolio. Because these guys, some people don't want to mess with it at all. They'll just go sell projects, sell projects, sell projects. Me, it's cash flow constantly pumping into the business. I mean, just because we don't do on receipt, all cards are on file. So that mowing maintenance crew, that hedge trimming, mulching crew, I mean, it's just constantly just pumping money into the business.
All cards on file.
I think it's all cards
All day
are on
long.
file. I have not sent an invoice in 7 years. I'd say 8
Really?
years.
What about for just for maintenance work or for project work too as well somehow?
Project work too. I do 50% up front and I close out immediately as soon as we get paid, unless we have some other arrangement. All of our customers, if you're doing a $70,000 wall, you're going to pay 50% down. You're going to keep a card on file. Now we will take checks for those out there to avoid paying Big Brother, big digital transaction stuff like that. But our policy is card on file, and it kind of, if you don't want to do business that way, then you're probably not our customer. But we
That's
don't.
amazing,
Yeah,
Chance.
I'm not in the
Can I
collection.
just ask you?
Sure.
Man, I love it. You were talking the gospel to me. That is awesome. No one has really brought this up here on the show yet, and I love that you're touching on this. This last piece on that. I mean, card on file. Do you ever get any kind of friction or pushback about that? Like, oh, that's not how it's worked in the past, or whatever it is. Or do people just kind of understand?
For the most part, yes, and for the most part, no. But the customers that do have an issue with it, they're just not our customer, and so I don't try and oh, come on, try and retain them at all. Like, you know what I mean? Because if we're already to that point, it's only going to get worse down the road. As far as someone taking my time, and my time is very valuable as the bottleneck in this gig. So
That's fantastic.
So
guys, if you're listening to this, go back and revisit what Chance just said. This piece here, okay? It's just very powerful, and this is absolutely sounds so key to like his success and the way he's taking care of stuff, not having to deal with these problems of invoicing and that whole headache. That's amazing.
Yeah, my bookkeeper's like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Like, everyone else is like, they all have like all these invoices they're chasing. It's like I'm not doing. I learned very early, Mark, when I was doing net 30 when I first started, and I would sit there and that bank account would just do this, and do this, and I'm having to call and hustle. And then I did net 15. I said, heck with this. Like, it's card on file. All my bills I'm paying card on file with all my utility bill, or all this stuff. I was like, let's just do it with this, and everyone's good with it. They, especially the customers I've had for a while, they know. I give a fair price. I'm reasonable, and so if we go and you say, hey, Chance, come do the work, I want all this stuff done, we'll go do the work, and whatever that total is, I'll run the card. And so far it has been fantastic. Whereas I have my time back. I have my time. I'm not doing any invoices.
That's so important, your time. Well, fantastic, Chance. I'd love to hear, Geoscapes, what kind of sets you guys apart, right? Like people are focusing on different parts of their values in the business, and this is kind of what we do well. You guys do a lot of different things, and I'm curious, how you would say kind of your position, or how you're kind of in a unique place in the market there that you're in Nashville.
I mean, I think what makes us kind of unique is, as far as separating ourselves from some of the other people in the business, is I'll take it all the way down. I mean, first and foremost, we have you reach out to us, we're going to call you back. I'm going to get in touch with you. We're going to follow up. We're going to, you can get a hold of us, either phone call, most people, they're not going to call us initially through email, but our CRM, Google. So you're going to get to us, and I'm going to reach out to you. So some companies, they may or may not, especially if they're kind of just getting started, middle of the road, kind of unorganized. Our image and branding is everything. From our trucks are the same. Everyone wears a uniform. I picked our colors and everything based on psychology, as far as what does black emulate, what is blue, and all that. So when I go to the nursery or the landscape shop and we pull up, we are different from everyone else. Everyone else has white trucks, green logos. It's all the same. I can't tell the difference. And we're just responsive and professional. And so I think that kind of what separates us a little bit from some of our competitors here.
Love it. Yeah. Well, we took a look. We saw, your Google business profile. See, you got just a ton of great reviews over there. It's all pegged at 5 stars. Didn't take a look at some of the social channels like Facebook and stuff, but imagine people just blowing it up over there as well.
There's just not enough time for all that. I wish I need to get a freelancer on Fiverr to do that stuff too, because there's
right.
There's just not.
I know.
There's just not enough like time for me to go and do all that. Like I don't know how some people do it. I don't.
Yeah. Well, Chance, last question here is just here 2026, 27, beyond. Are you guys still kind of growing the business, or are you guys at a really nice level spot with kind of the team that you have and where you're at right now with the business?
I mean, I'm always looking to grow, and so that's kind of all I'm working towards every year is kind of getting to the next step, because at some point, I want an actual business that where it can run. Hopefully that's my goal, for a business can run without me, right? And so when I'm not there, and I can focus on the business right now, when you're coming up the totem pole, right, and wearing all these hats, it's a glorified job. It's not glorified, but it's a job. And so at some point I would like to have an actual business and get to where we're doing, mill to mill consistently, and I can focus on project managing, selling, have someone else do all the office stuff. So that's our goal. Our goal is hopefully keep going that way.
That's awesome.
I'd like to get into pools at some point, and I got a buddy who's into that stuff, and we're trying to sync up and do something now, and hopefully that'll be something we'll do in the future.
That is fantastic. Well, we'd love to stay in touch and hear how things go here this next year and beyond. Great episode, Chance. Thanks for being on today and sharing all your wisdom about running Geoscapes.
Absolutely, Mark. Thanks for having me. I'll talk again soon, man.